G'day, my name's David Grant Lloyd. I'm a poet and a writer, and I'm very passionate about Australian literature. So I thought I'd make this video just to talk about some of my favourite examples of Australian children's literature. Starting with one of the most famous ones, I think, is Dot and the Kangaroo. It was written by Ethel Pedley, I believe, and illustrated by Frank Mahoney. It was written a long time ago, about 1899, I think. And it might have been adapted into a cartoon, I think, in the 1970s or 80s or something. But it's one of Australia's most famous books for children's literature. It's a very charming story with beautiful drawings. It's essentially about a little girl named Dot, of course, and she's lost in the bushland, in the Australian bushland, and she befriends a grey kangaroo who helps her try to find her way home. And Dot can communicate with her and the other animals she encounters by way of a handful of magic berries that the kangaroo gives her. It's a lovely little adventure, very charming, very classic, and if you like Alice in Wonderland, and I'm sure you do, who doesn't, right? Then you'll probably like this one. It's definitely got some Alice in Wonderland vibes to it, I think. Because it was written such a long time ago, I think there's a little bit of politically incorrect language in there, but I'm glad they haven't censored it, nor should they. I think art and history should be preserved as it is. So yeah, that's definitely an essential one, Dot and the Kangaroo. Okay, another one, this is probably our Australia's most famous book as far as children's literature is concerned, The Complete Adventures of Blinky Bill, which is actually a trilogy, and that was written and illustrated by Dorothy Wall. Yeah, Blinky Bill's probably one of Australia's most famous and iconic characters, I believe. He's like the original larrikin, a bit mischievous, a bit rebellious, but he's got a good heart. And it's been adapted so many times I can barely even remember. I think there were countless children's shows, cartoons and stuff, and I think it's been adapted into a movie. But yeah, they're not as good as the original source material, I think. So yeah, Blinky's a great character. He comes across, there's a whole ensemble cast of characters from Miss Magpie to Farmer Smithkin. The human characters are very few and far between, but obviously Blinky and his friends, they're all anthropomorphic, like Mickey Mouse or something like that. They're animals, but they talk and act like humans. Who else is there? Yes, the wonderful adventure, the second one, when he comes into contact with Farmer Smithkin. I won't give away any spoilers, but it's really cool. And the third one, I like the third one because he teams up with a female koala named Nutsy, who becomes his partner in crime. They're a really cute duo. So that one's highly recommended as well. But if you can you got to get past some of the mistakes that Dorothy Wall made. I think it was written in the early 30s, I believe, the early 1930s, and koalas are often referred to as bears, which of course they're not, they're marsupials. And there are other things in the stories, like animals like hedgehogs and porcupines, which of course we don't have in Australia. So I guess Dorothy Wall didn't get the memo on that one, but but again, it shouldn't be censored or anything like that, or edited and corrected. But it's still, yeah, if you can get past those little mistakes, it's still charming nonetheless. Okay, what else is there? Oh, The Complete Adventures of Snugglepot and Cuddlepie. That's just adorable. That's by May Gibbs, with beautiful drawings as well. She was so talented. It's like a avoiding danger kind of adventure, because Snugglepot and Cuddlepie, they're basically these really tiny humanoid type of characters. Kind of like Thumbelina and Tom Thumb. And they're basically trying to find a safe place, a safe haven to live and live in peace and all that sort of stuff. And there's so many dangers they've got to avoid along the way, particularly by the main villains, I think, called the Banksia Men. I believe. But there are other villains and other dangers as well. So charming. Beautiful drawings, beautiful story. Can't recommend it enough. Speaking of which, I think possibly I don't know. It's hard to pick a favourite, but I've got a really soft, special place in my heart for this one. The Adventures of the Muddle-Headed Wombat by Ruth Park. I think it started off. It actually started off as a series of radio plays in the 1950s, and they were so popular, and it's not hard to see why, that it was adapted for storybooks, prose and pictures, and and because it was initially planned for radio, I think maybe that's why it reads so well. It's perfect bedtime reading. If you love reading bedtime stories to your children, it's perfect for that, because it's so smooth. It's easy to get into. It's very funny, and the main characters, Wombat, Mouse, and Tabby Cat, they're essentially like a dysfunctional family unit. Mouse is like the mother figure, Tabby Cat's like the goody two shoes or something, and Wombat, of course, is the mischief maker. And it's so funny, so hilarious. I won't give away any spoilers, but I can't recommend that one enough. You'll reading it to your kids, and you'll remember it. I still remember it. I still remember laughing my head off when I was a kid. The good old adventures of the muddle-headed wombat. So that's definitely essential. Okay, probably. This could be the most famous one. The Magic Pudding by Norman Lindsay. Norman Lindsay is one of Australia's most infamous artists, and he wrote this and did the illustrations, of course. It's quite surreal, and I think while it is a children's book, I think it's appreciated more by adults in many ways. It's just a wonderful political satire. Basically, it's quite surreal as well, but it's very Australian. It's very surreal in the Australian sense, with unforgettable characters like Bunyip Bluegum, and Sawn Off Sam, I think his name is, Sailor. It blends nursery rhyme with surrealism and political satire, and it's like a fable as well. There's a definite moral to the story in a sense. Revealing, the true problems with society and with the human condition. No spoilers, but it's unforgettable. Okay, so what time? Oh, it's not quite 10 minutes, so I think that's long enough. So yes, all of those books I've mentioned: Dot and the Kangaroo, Blinky Bill, Snugglepot and Cuddlepie, The Muddle-Headed Wombat, The Magic Pudding. If you don't have them in your library, you certainly should have them in your library. So get them as soon as possible. They're still in print. They're not going to go out of print, but make sure you get your hands on them if you haven't already done so. Just before I go, I'll mention A Day in the Life of Natalie Numbat. It was a children's book I wrote a few years ago with wonderful illustrations by Carla Santos. Now there's still a few copies left. It's recently gone out of print and is nearly sold out. So there's only a few copies left on Amazon, and I might have a few spare copies in my shed. So I'll maybe only about half a dozen or so, but I'll list them on eBay, and I'll put the links in the description. Okay. Well, thanks very much for your time. See you later.